electric or running water was going to slow me down. They want to have their wellies on much earlier in the morning if they're planning on catching this witch on the hop. It really is just the electric that's gone, but the electric also controls our water pump and our gas tank. So, yeah. And actually, to be 100% honest with you, it hasn't slowed working the ditch down a single iota. Okay, it took a little while to get the fire lit, I'll admit that much. But honestly, it was for the aesthetic as much as anything else. You know, it's spooky season. Spooky! The spookiest part though was me on the phone to Dave at all hours last night going, "The switches on the fuse box are hissing at me and squealing every time I flipped one." It's not like I've never used a fuse box before, but I don't think they're meant to do as much hissing and sparking as they were, so that's a whole big dose of Simon's problem. As for me, so far this morning I've managed to rescue a blue tit from Tilly. Sorry I didn't catch it on film, but as any of you with cats knows, there's either time to grab a camera or there's time to save the bird, so the bird got saved. Plus, I'm still in the middle of cutting fabric scraps to make my blinds. And I'm also considering doing a couple of little DIY jobs. Okay, so since I filmed that last intro, things have gone from bad to considerably worse. We've both tested positive with COVID. I've been on steroids since during the week because I was also having shortness of breath. And the real kicker came when we both woke up 2 mornings in a row under blankets and bed sheets that were soaked, absolutely soaked, and we're 99% certain that it's not a COVID problem. It is a problem of what we thought was our trusty mobile home that we were ready to live in for the next couple of winters. Actually probably not being fit for purpose. We've already had some black mold appear on the sides, and knowing what we know about how quickly COVID can turn into something like pneumonia, we've decided not to take the chance. So we put the call out to everyone we could think of who might be able to give us some suggestions on how we move forward. Those of you who've been watching for a long time know that this is kind of it. We've sunk everything we have into moving here to Leitrim, so we absolutely have to make it work. There's no other option. I got some very useful feedback from one of the off-grid groups online that I asked for help in, and got some pretty sensible suggestions. People were talking about maybe wrapping the mobile home in a layer of straw bales for insulation, which, you know, sounds like a pretty good idea, except it is so damp and kind of swampy here on our site that I'm not so much sure that the hay would hold in heat, as opposed to maybe just trapping and catching moisture and then holding it against the mobile, which is definitely not what we want. We've also had people suggesting that maybe we install a wood stove in the mobile, which is something that personally kind of terrifies me. When I bought my first mobile home a few years back, the man who sold it to me, a seasoned expert, recommended that mobile homes are not really fit for stoves. It's not really a safe situation. People out there might argue with that, might say that it is. That's okay, but at the end of the day, it's us that needs to be able to sleep soundly in it, and we're not really confident in our own abilities to safely install a wood stove in this rather old, rather battered mobile home.
You gotta know your limits, what you can and you can't do.
Yeah,
you know.
You really do. So I think the soundest advice we've gotten is from a couple of friends, namely Steve at Lacken Cottage. Thanks a million, Steve,
Yeah, thank you.
for answering the call out. And Steve and also our chimney sweep Paul have recommended that we just cut our losses and make a break for the house, at least as a place to sleep in. You know, we still have the mobile here that we can use to cook in, but with regards a place to sleep, we actually think the bedroom inside the house might be a safer bet for us. We are blessed to have a house that is really sheltered, a lot drier than you'd expect it to be, super protected from the elements, and we actually think that to turn one of the rooms, the big large bedroom, the one that's painted blue, if you can remember that from previous videos, we think that might be the thing to do, is just get that prep to move in there. We know we have 3 working fireplaces, we know we can make it happen. The question now is, how quickly can we do it? Because there's only so many days you can wake up in what feels like a paddling pool. Every morning we're getting up, turning on our little tiny €50 from Lidl dehumidifier and our electric space heater to try and get our bed sheets dry before bedtime again that night. And it's not just bad for our health, but it's already taken a toll on our mental health. So it's time to move onwards and upwards.
Yeah, it is, and it's, we've also haven't really got a full night's sleep with everything. You're waking up in the damp and that, which isn't helping matters, but we're going to get moved into the house absolutely pronto now, so we are. The first job then is emulsifying the walls. Then we have to get a bit of tin and block off some of the fireplace because it's a wee bit too wide. Then we got some great tips from Steve on what to do with our windows and that to get them sealed up. We're very lucky in that bedroom room that the windows are in good nick. They've just slipped a little bit, so it should only take a couple of hours to repair or whatever. So I'll be hoping that we'd get that boxed off in the next week. Well, we need to. There's no other.
We really have no choice.
Do or die, like, so it is.
So even though we're both kind of
dying
with COVID, there's no rest for the wicked. There's no time to stop. There's a lot of little jobs that's going to contribute towards us actually being able to move in there. And I suppose the best thing we can do today is undo some of the work we'd done by means of setting up wardrobes with our spare clothes and things like that, and just getting those away from the walls so that we can begin prepping and painting the walls to just keep any kind of loose matter from sort of blowing about the place, and getting the windows fixed up, getting the fire lit, getting some of the very small amount of damp that's in there out, and moving inside.
Yeah, we're gonna absolutely nail that this week, love, so we are.
Yeah, we've already done a little bit of moving of stuff inside the house today, getting as much kind of unnecessary stuff out of there as we possibly can, so that we really have a good clean shell to work from to begin with. So I guess there's no point sitting around talking about it anymore, Dave.
No, we're gonna have to do it. Like,
we're just gonna have to go and do it, so let's go. Okay, so as you can see, we've just pretty much completed step 1 of what we think we need to do in here to get it ready. Steve had advised that we get as much furniture away from the walls as possible. We had planned, when we thought we had all winter, to, you know, take our time and do things right, to just store our stuff in here because it seemed so dry. But obviously storing ourselves is a lot more important than storing our stuff. So if we have to bin every last bit of it, that's what we're going to do. We're keeping stuff that's burnable for obvious reasons. Now that we've got this room almost clear, you know, there's only a couple of bits of furniture left in here, so we just move them out for now. I think the next thing to do is to start sweeping down the walls and just getting as much of the loose debris out of the room as we possibly can. and get the fireplace set up for burning stuff as well. So just get some of the damp out. You can feel there is a little bit of damp in here. So yeah, what are we doing now, Dave?
Well, we're doing exactly that. We're gonna sweep the stuff. And I'll chop up some firewood and we'll get the fire going.
Okay, how are you feeling right now?
I'm good. The blood's flowing a wee bit better.
I've got hot and cold sweats. I'm not great, boys and girls, but look it, we can't stop. There's no time to stop.
Get the fire on the go, and I hope to do that.
Get the fire on the go, and maybe a little sit down at some point today.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're into day 2 of unexpectedly sudden renovations that we didn't plan to start till next year. And yes, we are both living in our house coats at the minute because
that's life.
That's life, COVID and sickness, and that's just our comfort that we have now at the minute. It's keeping us nice and warm and keeping us on the right side of things. So Dave is just cutting up some timber so that we can get the fire lit inside and get some of the damp out of the room that we intend to move into.
This year's Halloween is literally a fight against the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, spooky.
Spooky.
Black mold. Yes, and I am personally feeling a lot more optimistic about things today. It was all a little bit grim yesterday, but coming in today and seeing, even with, you know, the 2 windows open, Dave gave that one a bit of a sweep off yesterday. You can't really see there, but it's you know, it feels warmer in here than it does in the mobile sometimes, and you know, it's just looking that bit tidier, and it's much easier to imagine ourselves actually living in here before too long. So that's really just giving us that kind of boost that we need to get going, get things done. And we're having to just move at kind of a slow pace. I had to stop at lunchtime yesterday because the tightness in my chest just felt like it wasn't something I should be continuing to work on. So I took the afternoon and the evening to recover, feeling a good bit better in the chest region today. So I think my job for the next couple of hours is going to be fire supervisor. So I'm going to get this fire lit, just sit and keep an eye on it. I've given it a bit of a sweep out there, so once we can start removing the damp out, it's going to make a very big difference. The next thing we plan to do, we should be receiving a delivery from the local hardware suppliers pretty soon, which will include lots of polyfilla, lots of chipboard, because we're just going to temporarily board up the windows for now. We are looking at having 2 PVC windows made for this room, but they're probably going to take up to a month to come. So we will be sacrificing our daylight in here, but we're going to get our trusty electrician Simon back in as soon as we possibly can to get us some electric into this room here now, so that we will have light to work by in here. Okay, so now that we've got the fire roaring and the sun has come out, and it's actually kind of beautiful here. Yay. We're smiling, which is great, and Dave's just beginning about the job of giving everything a bit of a sweep down. We have made our order. Our stuff that we need isn't going to arrive until tomorrow, but we'll tip away and do what we can today. Just get the walls prepped for filling, and yeah, just try and look after ourselves as much as we can. Very important. Looking good, Dave. So I'm into my second afternoon now in the sick bed at Cuchulainn. Unfortunately, I'm finding I'm really only able to work up until about lunchtime each day, when the fatigue and the sort of jelly feeling of COVID is just hammering me for 6. I mean, we're getting a really good morning in every morning, and Dave, what a trooper, is able to do an extra couple of hours than I am. He hasn't been hit quite as bad with the old Rona. But that doesn't mean that work stops, okay? Just because I am horizontal doesn't mean there's nothing happening. So far today, we've managed to get 2 PVC windows ordered for the room in there, which just has me on cloud 9. Even better again, we might only need to wait 3 weeks for those to come out, so that is absolutely amazing. My mum, God bless her, has offered to help out with the cost of those. I'm guessing that's our housewarming present, so thank you so much, Mommy. I know that she knows how much it means to us. I've also been scouting around for exterior doors on Facebook Marketplace and looking for ones that maybe potentially could be cut down to size and fitted in the house just to give us an extra little bit of protection. We have also had some of our supplies delivered out. So as in from tomorrow, we are going to start polyfilling the shite out of the walls, and very handy tip then, we're just going to stick the whole lot together with a bit of emulsion paint that we have left here. It's a little bit hairy, little bit come day go day, but look, it needs must. And it's really only a temporary job anyway. Then hopefully come next summer maybe we'll be looking at stripping that room and doing a proper job at, you know, pointing the stone and maybe some lime hempcrete, or I'm not really too sure of the technical terms yet. It's all really new to me. Obviously we'll be keeping you updated on that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to a cozy winter, hopefully, or something resembling a cozy winter at least. We still have a bit of an issue with a lot of sort of overgrowth growing around the outside of the house, which you can see is kind of helping to trap damp in the bottoms of the walls, even on the inside of the house. So as I say, when I put out the call out yesterday on Facebook, if there's anybody out there who'd be willing to come and give us even just a couple of hours help with that once the plague has left our house, please give me a shout in the comments under this video, or actually probably a better idea would be to email me on the email address which I have listed on the business inquiries section of my YouTube channel. That's on the About tab. If you just have a bit of a scroll around there, you'll find it. Or alternatively, if you're on Facebook, you can join my Diary of a Ditch Witch Facebook group and get in touch with me that way. And I'll keep a list of everybody who's able to come and help us. And hopefully with just another couple of sets of hands, we'll be able to put a big old dent in this long neglected property and take a big swing at just getting it a little bit more weatherproof. So I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of frightened of myself here. Look at the state of me, oh Jesus. Do you know how brave you have to be to go on camera from your sick bed with no makeup or anything on? Look at this, look at all my chins. Oh, but sure, look, it'll give you a laugh if nothing else. And I'm going to leave it at that for now and probably have another little snooze. Who am I kidding? And we'll check in again tomorrow.
So while Tara's pottering away there, getting all the domestic stuff that keeps the house going done, I'm starting to board up the house. So I've got loads of OCB board, and I got my circular saw there. I got the first one cut, and I'm going to get the second one cut now, and we'll hopefully have the room sealed off by the end of the day. And just as I thought things couldn't get any stranger, I don't know if you can hear it, but there is a slow, steady buzz coming from the house door. Look, there's a culprit there. A scout bee out on the prowl. I think we might have a hive in the house, up in the attic. Oh no.
Okay, so day 3 or 4 or whatever the hell it is now. And Dave is taking care of a little problem that became apparent whilst I was doing fire supervision the other day, and that is that we have a little smoke escaping out of this front wall. It's not a huge amount, not a big problem, and we are this week looking at getting a stove put in here. And we're hoping that we'll be able to put it sitting a little bit out into the room. Sorry, you'll notice this is like a before and after video now. I stopped to take a 20-minute phone call and Dave had the job done. So we're gonna have to give that now a couple of days to dry, I think, before we light the fire again, which is a little bit unfortunate because we're really trying to push things through, get as much damp out of this room as possible and get moved into it. But sure, look, things have to be done correctly. There's no point in doing all that work only to have it done arseways. So as you can see, Dave hasn't quite nailed up the chipboard yet. It's probably just as well because he has the benefit of great natural light while we're working in here. I think what we're going to do now is stop for a little bit of lunch and then we're going to start with the polyfilling on the walls. You know, it's not too bad. We have some cracks here and there, but honestly, bit of polyfiller, bit of emulsion paint just to tidy the whole thing up, and yeah, it's starting to feel cozy, folks. I am immensely proud of what we've managed to get done in this first week of sheer panic. And especially Dave, he's just such a legend. When I am unable to continue, Dave is picking up the baton and we're just tag teaming that shit, and we've actually amazed ourselves with how much we've managed to get done. People do keep advising me on Facebook to stop trying to push through the fatigue, which honestly is my biggest challenge. I find it very hard to just sit down and be sick. But at the same time, I really don't need this crap running on for weeks and weeks. You know, when maybe 2 or 3 weeks of just taking it that little bit easier would be a lot more effective in the long run. And just before I wrap up this video, I would like to say a massive thank you to everybody who has been offering us support, both on Facebook, giving us practical advice as to what the hell we're actually doing here. Steve especially, you absolute lifesaver. I can't thank you enough. Steve really knows what he's doing. He has converted more than one old building and knows what he's about. There are people trying to convince us just to cozy board up the space and just kind of move in and that's it. But we kind of know better, and Steve knows better, that we really don't want to be dropping several €100 and trapping damp into those stone walls, especially when we haven't properly dealt with the damp problem. So we've decided just to old school it and make do with what we have for now. We will be cozy, we will be warm, we'll be fine. And as I say, next year we can look at doing a really proper job with the stone that's there. I would also like to say a massive thank you to everybody who wanted to send financial support, but I would really like to stress it's not about that, okay? We're not down to our last couple of coppers yet. We didn't come into this completely blind. We did have a budget set aside for doing what we thought were going to be important works for the mobile and the site in general. So we've been able, thankfully, to redirect some of that into just new priorities, things that are more important. There are, as always, links below this video for anybody who would like to donate via Ko-Fi or buy me a coffee. But again, I'm not here to beg for money or anything like that. It's not about that. Your support, your views, your shares, your comments mean the world to us, honest to God. And especially anybody here who's in the local area who has been giving us advice about salvage yards, places that we can get things that we need, and anybody who has offered their actual practical hands-on help whenever we're feeling better. That's what we need right now. I'm not saying every little doesn't help, of course it does, and it is muchly appreciated, but I don't want people watching this channel to feel like they have to be contributing that way. Times are tough for everybody, and honestly, compared to the situation some people find themselves in now, there are times here when things are looking that bit brighter and we feel like we have an embarrassment of riches. A semi-dry, very sturdy house and a mobile home which can take care of all our living requirements like cooking, showering, and just having a bit of a hangout whenever we do get downtime, and a comfortable place to recover from sickness, because at the end of the day, what else do you really need in life? So I'm going to leave it at that. We're going to get some lunch in now, get the polyfilla going. I'll be back really soon with another update. Now, I did actually have some videos recorded from the last couple of weeks. As I told you, I was hard at work recording my travels in history and folklore, and I do have a nice spooky video coming up too. Haven't quite got sitting down to actually edit that yet, but I will get there, so stay tuned for more fun and witty adventures. I upload as often as I possibly can, and you're not going to want to miss it. Slán agus beannacht, goodbye and good luck to you.